remembering Iwa-Chan, and IWAOI one-shot. Saturday morning. I was sipping coffee in my apartment, excited for my day. I've always loved the weekends. But it got better ever since I volunteered at the hospital. That's where I met Toru, an outpatient. He would come for a follow-up checkup every Saturday. His condition was very rare. It started after he got into a car accident a few months ago. He tends to forget things on a daily basis. What he does today, he would forget the following morning when he wakes up. But he clearly remembers everything that happened before the accident. During my 8-weekend volunteer work at the hospital, I would need to introduce myself to him every Saturday. At first, it irritated me, saying the same thing to the same person over and over again. But Toru always had that smile, that pretty face, that innocence. I just realized that I already fell so damn hard. Even after my contract ended, I had to go to the hospital to check on him. That's when I told Kajiyama, his best friend and often his hospital chaperone, how I felt about Toru. He told me the consequences, but I knew that already. I just got hooked real bad. There's no turning back. If I have to, I'll introduce myself to Toru every single day. I would give him presents. I would cook food for him. I would watch the same movie over and over again. I don't care that he won't remember. I'll do it every day. I'll make him feel special every single day. I checked the time on my phone. 7:30 a.m. I gotta go. I have to be at Toru's house before 8 a.m. Kajiyama won't be coming with us to the hospital today. He'll be having a weekend volleyball training camp. He'll just be waiting at Toru's house to introduce me to Toru again today. I got up, washed the used coffee mug, took my backpack, and headed to the front door. Can I hold your hand, Iwa-Chan? It was the same every time. I don't know why he always calls me that. I used to hate it. But it grew on me too. Recently, I find it heartwarming. I took his hand with a smile as we entered the front door of the hospital. His other hand was holding the stress ball I gave him this morning. I really don't like hospitals. I glanced sideways to look at his pained expression. Don't worry, Toru. I'm here. His face softened. He nodded, as if what I said was the most comforting thing he has heard today. That's another thing I like about Toru. He's scared but he's determined that he'll get better. Do you play sports, Iwa-Chan? I nodded. He would always talk about volleyball. Kajiyama says he's really good. I have to see him play soon. Yes, Toru, volleyball. Really? You play volleyball? Me too. I'm a setter. How about you? That was the start of a really long discussion. He would talk about his team and how good he was. I heard it so many times that I memorized his teammates' names already. But I just let him talk. I like how he smiles whenever he talks about volleyball. We sat outside the doctor's clinic. Toru was still blabbering about how he missed playing, saying he hoped to get well soon enough so Kajiyama would let him play again. He didn't really know the severity of his condition. We only get to tell him he needs regular checkups after the accident. When we were called to get into the clinic, the doctor gave me instructions on the next trial. He's been subjected to different tests every week. Recently, he's been asked to lessen his number of sleeping hours. Initially, he's been asked to limit his sleep to 8 hours. They lessen it every week. The most recent instruction was to have a 5 hours sleep. But as of today, there has been no positive result. Today, he was instructed to limit his sleep to 4 hours. After our hospital visit, we spent the rest of the day together. We went to the astronomical museum that he loves. We went there every other Saturday. The management already gave us a VIP card that we can use for discounts. Before the sun set, Toru dragged me by the wrist to get to the park. We sat on the park bench. We watched the sunset and waited for the stars and the moon to appear. After a few hours, we decided it was time to go home. Do you want to? Can you stay the night, Iwa-Chan? His face lowered, staring at our hands. This was the first time he asked me to enter his house. I cupped his chin, slightly lifting his face to look at me. Do you want me to? He nodded shyly, an awkward smile forming on his lips. Tobio said he won't be coming back tonight. I'd appreciate if you could keep me company. Are you sure? Another nod. I'd love to stay, Toru. I literally saw his eyes lit up. I could not contain my smile. He immediately took my wrist and hurriedly dragged me into the living room. He arranged the couch, took hold of the television remote and browsed the channels. He patted the part of the couch where he wants me to sit. I smiled yet again, following him to the couch. He settled on a show, a documentary on a new scientific discovery. He decided to lie down, placing his head on my lap. You have to tell me if you're sleepy, Toru. We need to watch your sleeping hours. Yes, yes. Now be quiet, Iwa-Chan. This part's interesting. His eyes were fixed on the screen. I'm betting he won't be sleeping for a while. I didn't even look at the television. I stared at his face for hours. His facial expression would change from surprise to sorrow to excitement. It was around midnight when I noticed his eyes getting heavy. Iwa-Chan, I'm sleepy now. I took my phone and set the alarm to 4 hours. Sleep well, Toru. I love you. I ran my fingers through his hair. I love you too, Iwa-Chan. I took his hand and kissed it. He then took my hand and hugged it like a kid would hug his pillow. I love you more, Toru. My eyes closed, following him into dreamland. The alarm went off. I snoozed it on instinct. When I realized why I had the alarm, I jolted up from the couch. Shit, I just realized. Toru wouldn't recognize me. Do I get out of the house? What am I supposed to do? Iwa-Chan, I heard him say, looking confused. I decided to hide from behind the couch. Wait, I whispered to myself, realizing Toru just said my name. What are you doing there, Iwa-Chan? Why are you hiding behind the couch? I looked at Toru, stunned. What's wrong, Iwa-Chan? Say that again. I stood up quickly and got back on the couch beside him. Say what again? Say my name, Iwa-Chan. I hugged Toru so tight. You remembered? Of course, Iwa-Chan. You remember what we did yesterday. Okay, you're freaking me out, Iwa-Chan. Of course, I remember. The hospital, the museum, the park. What's not to remember? Tears started to run down my cheeks. I tried desperately to wipe them away while I was still hugging Toru. What else do you remember? Of course I remember I love you. I half smiled, half laughed, ruffled his hair and nuzzled his neck. What? You don't believe me? Well, I really do. I know we just met yesterday, but I don't know. Feels like I've known you for a long time already. Yesterday. You'll get to remember more yesterdays from now on, Toru. And I'll be in every damn yesterday. I'd love for you to become part of my everyday, Iwa-Chan. I will, Toru. I've waited long enough. His face slightly tilted. Long enough. We just met, silly. I let out a smirk. I'll explain when you're ready. First we gotta call Kajiyama. Releasing myself from the hug, I looked for my phone. It kinda flew away when I jolted up earlier. It's 4 a.m. Iwa-Chan, I think he won't appreciate the call. I bet he will. I felt his hand on mine. His eyes were locked on mine. I gave up on looking for my phone and sat back next to him. His head rested on my shoulder. I wanna hear it. How have you been waiting long enough? Telling Kajiyama about the news will have to wait. My Toru needs me.